upon him cheerfully. One who has sold an elephant to another person should not make a miserly quarrel about selling the trident which controls the elephant. This kind of bashfulness is due to a new introduction in ecstatic love for Krishna. The heavenly king Indra, upon being defeated in his fight with Krishna for possession of the Parijata flower, became very bashful because of his defeat. He was standing before Krishna, bowing his head. When Krishna said, "All right, Indra, you can take this Parijata flower. Otherwise, you will not be able to show your face before your wife, Sachi Devi." Indra's bashfulness was due to defeat. In another instance, Krishna began to praise Uddhava for his various high qualifications. Upon being praised by Krishna, Uddhava also bowed down his head bashfully. In the Harivamsa, Satyabhama, feeling slighted by Rukmini's high position, said, "My dear Krishna, the Raivataka mountain is always full of spring flowers. But when I have become persona non grata to you, what is the use of observing them?" This is an instance of bashfulness resulting from being defeated. So we'll just read a bit from the Nectar of Book Distribution. As this is the time of year when we try to distribute lots of Srila Prabhupada's books. Srila Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Preaching is the essence. So we're on. Oh. You had the first three. Okay. So that was the mission. It is the mission of the Lord to liberate the conditioned souls. The Lord wanted to create the cosmic manifestation to give another chance to the conditioned souls who are dormant in forgetfulness. The cosmic manifestation gives the conditioned souls a chance to go back home, back to Godhead. And that is its main purpose. The Lord is so kind that in the absence of such a manifestation, he feels something wanting, and thus the creation takes place. Although the creation of the internal potency was manifested, the other potency appeared to be sleeping, and the Lord wanted to awaken her to activity, just as a husband wants to awaken his wife from the sleeping state for enjoyment. It is the compassion of the Lord for the sleeping energy that he wants to see her awaken for enjoyment, like the other wives who are awake. The whole process is to enliven the sleeping conditioned souls to the real life of spiritual consciousness, so that they may thus become as perfect as their ever liberated souls in the Vaikuntha Lokas. Since the Lord is Satchit Ananda Vigraha, he likes every part and parcel of his different potencies to take part in the blissful rasa, because participation with the Lord in his eternal rasa lila is the highest living condition, perfect in spiritual bliss and eternal knowledge. And that's from the Bhagavatam. You got a marker? Great. That's from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Text 24. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto. There's 12 cantos altogether. And the 8th canto is, this particular section is the demigod's appeal to the Lord. That's chapter 5, and we're on text 13? 17. So I'll just read the translation, and we can go on to 1920. And then there's a purport. So the translation for text 17 is, Lord Indra, Varuna, and the other demigods, seeing their lives in such a state, consulted among themselves, but they could not find any solution. Then all the demigods assembled and went together to the peak of Sumeru mountain. There, in the assembly of Lord Brahma, they fell down to offer Lord Brahma their obeisances, and then they informed him of all the incidents that had taken place. So text 19 and 20. So maybe we'll just do text 19, and I'll read the text 20 myself. Savilokendra Vayu Adin Disatvan Vigata Prabhan Lokana Mangala Prayan Asuran Ayata Vibhu Sabilokendra Vayu Adin Nisatvan Vigata Prabhan Lokana Mangala Prayan Asuran Ayata Vibhu Bolo Sabilokendra Vayu Adin Nihatsvan Vigata Prabhan Loka Amangala Prayan Asuran Ayata Vibhu Sabilokendra Vayu Adin Nisatvan Vigata Prabhan Lokana Mangala Prayan Asuran Ayata Vibhu Sabilokendriya Yagin Nisatvan Vigata Prabhan Lokana Mangala Prayan Asuran Ayata Vibhu Jayananda Prabhu. Just doing the first one. Sabalokendriya Vyatin Nisatvan Vigata Prabhan Lokana Mangala Prayan Asuran Ayata Vibhu Sabalokendriya Vyatin Nisatvan Vigata Prabhan Lokana Mangala Prayan Asuran Ayata Vibhu. So I'll just run through the Sanskrit for the second one. Samahitena manasa samsmaran purusham padam uvachat pula vadano devana bhagavan pada. Responsibly please. Saha, Lord Brahma, Vilokya, looking over. Indra Vayu Adin, all the demigods headed by Lord Indra and Vayu. Nisatvan, bereft of all spiritual potency. Vigata Prabhan, bereft of all effulgence. Lokan, all the three worlds. Amangala Prayan, merged into misfortune. Asuran, all the demons. Ayata, flourishing. Vibhu, Lord Brahma, the Supreme within this material world. Samahitena, by full adjustment. Manasa, of the mind. Samsmaran, remembering again and again. Purusham, the Supreme Person. Param, transcendental. Uvacha, said. Utfala Vadana, bright-faced. Devan, unto the demigods. Saha, he, Bhagavan, the most powerful. Para, of the demigods. Translation. Upon seeing that the demigods were bereft of all influence and strength, and the three worlds were consequently devoid of auspiciousness, and upon seeing that the demigods were in an awkward position, whereas all the demons were flourishing, Lord Brahma, who is above all the demigods and who is most powerful, concentrated his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus being encouraged, he became bright-faced and spoke to the demigods as follows. After hearing from the demigods the real situation, Lord Brahma was very much concerned because the demons were unnecessarily so powerful. When demons become powerful, the entire world is placed in an awkward position because demons are simply interested in their own sense gratification and not in the welfare of the world. Demigods or devotees, however, are concerned with the welfare of all living beings. Srila Rupa Goswami, for example, left his ministership and went to Vrindavan for the benefit of the entire world. Lokanam hitakadino. This is the nature of a saintly person or demigod. Even impersonalists think of the welfare of all people. Thus, Brahma was very much concerned at seeing the demons in power. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksharandalitam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadata Swabhadantikam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasali Gaurabhaktarinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyevacha paritanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So interesting that we're going to try and pass out a lot of books in December. Try and give some insight, some inspiration for people. And here we have a situation where the demons, who are only interested in their own sense gratification, have taken over. And so the welfare of everybody else in the universe has now been disturbed. So Brahma is bright-faced because he's gone into meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he's received some instructions, and Krishna has spoken to him directly and told him that he will be coming down as an incarnation and that the demigods don't have to worry. So this is preparing this for that to take place. So demons don't just go around with little horns on their head. They can look just like anybody else. And the demon can become a demigod, and the demigod can become a demon. It's all a question of the attitude and the mentality and the consciousness. So we follow a process called Vaidhi Bhakti, which is where we follow certain rules and regulations. And then they take us from demon to devotee. So demons are in the mode of ignorance. There's three modes of nature: mode of ignorance, mode of passion, and the mode of goodness. So somebody in the mode of ignorance is unaware of the goal of life, the meaning of life, that every action carries a reaction, and that we should be interested in the welfare of others. Those in the mode of passion are self-obsessed, very greedy for accumulating money and prestige. And then those in the mode of goodness are concerned with the well-being of others, and they like to lead a very simple life. They're very clean and tidy. They have few possessions, and they like to live out in the countryside and lead a simple, peaceful life and help others as much as they can. And they don't engage in sinful activity, which is illicit sex, intoxication, eating meat, and gambling. So in the Bhagavad Gita, it refers to these four activities as asuchi vrata, sworn to unclean work. So we take a vow: no illicit sex, no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling. And the asura, the demon, he takes a vow also: illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling. So that's sworn to unclean work. Asuchi vrata. Vrata is a vow. Suchi is clean, and asuchi is the opposite, is unclean. So they take a vow to perform unclean work. And because of this activity, the consciousness degrades, and then the person becomes more in darkness, more unaware of the welfare of everybody, and just more and more concerned with themselves. So we have a sad situation right now where the world is being ruled by demoniac leaders. And they'll make so many promises. When I get in office, this will happen and that will happen. But when they get in office, quite the opposite happens. And again, the masses are exploited. And then somebody else gets in and makes another load of promises, and this goes on and on and on. So, so here the demigods, they're in charge of the universal affairs. In Vedic culture, nothing is just happening by chance. Just like in this temple room, everything that's here, everything that's clean, everything that's painted, everything that's organized, somebody has done that. It doesn't just, we don't come in one morning and there's all these pictures hanging on the wall, and it just happened by chance. So the universe is the same. Everything is happening. All the laws are being implemented. All the balances in nature are intelligently designed, and they're being governed and synchronized. Everything is going on like a smoothly running clock. And then when the mechanism becomes disturbed, when people become a suchi vrata, then things don't work so well. Then there's diseases and there's problems and there's old age. I heard yesterday that scrolling increases the chance of dementia by 400%. Now the average person, when they die, it takes 3 days longer for the body to decompose because there's so much preservative in the food that they're eating. Everything is so processed. Everything is so unnatural and synthetic. And then, there's so many different diseases. If our food is good, then we won't need medicine. But if the food is bad, then we need the medicine to counteract the effects of the bad food that we're eating. So modern day progress is 1 step forward and then 2 steps back. 1 step forward and then 2 steps back. So we have so much technology now, you think, wow, everything is so much faster. We'll have more time on our hands, but we have less time on our hands. If we go back 100 years, 150 years, maybe 300 actually, people would generally get to A to B by walking, and people would walk to work. They would work on a farm maybe 3 miles away. It would take them 40 minutes to get to work. Then they brought in the horse and carriage. People started working 15 miles away. It took them 40 minutes to get into work. And now they have a car, and the job is 25 miles away, and it still takes them 40 minutes to get into work. So they think they're making progress, and they end up back at square one. So just imagine if cars were banned and all the tarmac roads had flowers growing on them, and people were just working locally, then people would be happier and healthier. So what is the progress? The progress is that people's lives are diminishing, their health and their quality of life is diminishing, and actually it's not progress at all. So if we can re-establish the natural order of things and find out, well, what is it I'm supposed to do? What is it I'm supposed to eat? What time am I supposed to rise? There's a book called The Laws of Happy Life by one of our devotees, Dr. Torsenau. He said that we should lead our life according to nature. So when the sun rises, we should rise. When the sun's at its highest, that's when our fire digestion is at its strongest. That's when we should eat the big meal. And when the sun sets, that's when we should start getting ready to go to bed. And if we're in bed by 8 o'clock, we can be up by 2 or 3, and then we can have all that nice time in the morning to do our spiritual life. So that's the laws of happy life. And in the book, there's one story of a man that was doing a night shift. So when everybody else was going to bed, he was getting up to work, and he was getting very unhealthy. And Dr. Torsenau told him, you have to change your job. And he ignored him, and then a few months later he died. So it upsets the whole balance of the body. And we should become regulated as well. Person in the mode of goodness, they eat at the same time every day. They do the same things. at the same time every day, they become very regulated. And regulation is one of the characteristics of yoga. You learn to regulate yourself physically, verbally, and then mentally. And then when all that's regulated, then we can start to control ourselves. Once we have control of the mind, then the mind becomes the friend. As long as the mind is uncontrolled, it remains the greatest enemy. So anyway, we get a chance this time of year to give out some books. Yesterday, I was minding my own business, walking along Sockhill Street, approaching people for donations to help with the eco-farm. And lo and behold, there was one place called Sarasvana Bhavan. And I thought, that's interesting, Bhavan, because we're Karuna Bhavan. So I thought, let's wander in here and see. And it was an Indian couple. And when they heard about the Bhagavatam, which is an 18-volume set of books, like this is one canto, it's 12 cantos, they wanted a set of Bhagavatams. And then a little bit round the corner, I met a Chinese man, and he liked what we were doing, and he gave a nice donation also. So the people are out there waiting to be contacted and connected, and they're looking for information, knowledge, guidance, and so these books have all that. Any questions or comments? Jainand, have you got a question? Yes, Rainus Prabhu.
I'm noticing if you go in the street, you meet people, especially young people today, they don't read, they don't like some dyslexia, they cannot read, they struggle reading, especially like young people. It's becoming more common.
Because they can't read or because they can't focus?
Well, they can, because of something they cannot read, they cannot focus.
Yeah, there's a few mental conditions now. Autism, they're doing a big thing in America. They're banning fluoride toothpaste because when you swallow it, it doesn't do the body much good. It's okay for the teeth, but it's not good for the body. So fluoride's out. And then there's a few other things that because there's been a huge increase in autism in America. And they put that down to a particular drug that they prescribe for women when they're pregnant, I can't remember what it was now. So they want to stop that. And ADHD is really, really high now amongst young people, where they can't focus because they're so used to being distracted that they can't focus. And bipolar is very, very high. And schizophrenia as well. Schizophrenia is when the whole world just revolves around you. Whatever your mind thinks, that's reality. So that's changing all the time as well. So people it's described in the Bhagavatam in the earlier canto, the first canto, Prayanalpaya Sabya Kalavas Yume Janaha Manasamanda Mateo Mandabhagya Yupadruta. That in this age of Kali men are short-lived, they are lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always on Facebook, always disturbed. Upadruta, always disturbed. It's very rare you'll see a person just walking along the street, just happy as can be. They're always like, I'm going to buy this, and I bought this, but I need to get rid of it now and get this instead. And they reckon it takes about 6 weeks. If you buy a car, it takes about 6 weeks for the happiness to wear off. So after 6 weeks, in the new car, you feel the same way that you felt when you were in the old car. And you only get that buzz for about 6 weeks. New watch, new coat, whatever it is, 6 weeks later, you're back to square one. So the solution is just make things that last for 6 weeks. What's the problem? That's why people like Primark, because it's cheap and you can throw it away and get another one. But better to pay a bit more and let it last, have it last, you know. But that's boring when things just last and it's the same old jacket for 30 years, you know. I got this fleece, a Musto fleece in Peterhead. must be like 20 years ago. And it's completely okay, you know, still. Really nice, made really well. Anyway, so that's the problem. There's mental health problems because the society has become derailed. And all that's happening is everyone's out for themselves. Before I became a devotee, I was doing a foundation course at Stockport College, and Mr. Nightingale told us that. He says, look out the window, what can you see? We said, we can see people wandering around, Mr. Nightingale. He said, no, you can see suckers. I said, oh, okay, Mr. Nightingale. And he said, what's the only good thing you can do with a sucker? So there we are, you know. We're still at the naive, idealistic age where we think we can make it a better world. I don't know, Mr. Nightingale. The only good thing you can do with a sucker is rip them off. So that was like the theory behind advertising. How to get people to want things they don't need. And so here we are. Everyone's running around, especially this time of the year. Last year, £3 billion was spent at Christmas. So people are running around buying rubbishy things to give to people who are going to give them rubbishy things so that they can both say they gave each other a present. And then they open it up and it's a brute aftershave kit or whatever it is. So, whoa, and it's in the bin, you know. But at least I gave them a present. It's such a shame because the original, it wasn't the birth of Jesus Christ because he was born in spring with a newborn lamb. It was the shortest day of the year. And the way that everyone cheered themselves up was they would have a big feast and invite everyone round to their home and they would give each other gifts. And then they just superimposed Christmas onto it. But that's what it was originally, which is a nice thing to do, isn't it? Go and give somebody a gift and tell them, I really appreciate you. And come to my house and have some nice food. That's what it was. And then it just became commercialized. And now, you know, kids are being told, this is, you know, make your parents buy you this. So the parents are out buying all these things for the kids. Consumerism. The problem with consumerism is it consumes us all. And we're burning the Earth's resources up at 200% more than the Earth can sustain. So you can only do that for so long before you reach a point of no return. So how to control what we consume and lead a simple life. Any other questions or comments? One from Alan. And then, did you have your hand up also? No?
I heard that a research has been done, and they're saying that because of all the technology that people are using, iPhones and iPads and everything, and all the scrolling that's been done, then people are actually becoming less intelligent now than they used to be. So this is actually a research that's been done by some doctors, and that's what they're finding. And so people are, we're actually going backwards with all the technology, not forwards.
Any other cherry additives? We do a counselling course after class.
Yes. Well, as we can see with the diminishing of the Earth's resources, yeah. And as we are in this competition sort of based system where different groups and countries are pitted against each other, and it's very ruthless. So when there's not enough resources, it's obvious what is going to happen, the fight for the resources.
Yeah.
So we're fast approaching, you know, what looks like a mass destruction of our civilization, so-called civilization.
Yeah.
But this could actually be a good thing because it might do away with all this horrible technology and demoniac sort of lifestyle that's about just now.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to the point eventually where, you know, technology can only take us so far. The ear can only hear. Like there's one man who sells really expensive things in Great Western Road that I see every year for a donation. And the equipment is really, really high tech. But it's at the point now where the ear can't appreciate that. Shishikoni time, Maya Pashashi. So you can try and satisfy yourself externally by stimulating the senses with ever and ever finer gadgets and more advanced technology. Or you can go directly to the soul and try to satisfy yourself internally. And if you have that internal satisfaction, then the greed for accumulation, atyahara, as Rupa Goswami explains, there's 6 things that stop us making advancement in spiritual life. Atyahara, prayasasya, prajopo niyamagraha. Over-collecting things and over-endeavoring for mundane things, and prajopo, speaking nonsense, and following the example of other people who are not very enlightened. So these are all the problems. And atyahara, collecting more than necessary, has got to the point now where there's these companies, there's one with a big kangaroo, storage, I think it's called Kangaroo actually. And people have got that much junk. Rather than throwing it out, they rent storage to put the extra junk in the storage because they've not got enough room in the house anymore, you know. And when I was up in Aviemore last year, a friend there was telling me that his friend's grandfather won the lottery and he had something like 11 million. And he was working out, he only had so much time left to live, you know. So what he did was he just started buying loads of things, you know, every day. And eBay, Amazon, every day. And he got to the point where he couldn't get in his house because it was just stacked up. And he didn't have the time to open the parcels. He was just trying to get as much in as he could, you know. So he's selling these drones that he bought that he never got out of the box. He runs a computer shop. So it got to the point where he couldn't even get the door open practically to get in the house because there was that much stuff inside. So this is what happens. You just want to just keep thinking, once I buy more things, I'll be okay, you know, just keep accumulating. Atyahara. Atyahara is to collect more than necessary, and atyahari is somebody that hoards. Atyahari. And I heard the American plate, if you took it and pushed 2/3 of the plate off, then that third of the plate would be good for their health, and the other 2/3 are overeating. And those 2/3 of the plate can feed all the people that are starving. So all they're doing, and the biggest killer in America is obesity. So they're just eating so much, and then because the body can't digest it, it creates a thing in the body called ama, which is a sticky treacle-like thing, and it sits inside the vein. So then the vein gets smaller, and the heart's really having to work hard to pump everything through because the whole system's clogged up with undigested food, and then they die prematurely. Anyway, on the bright side, if you go vegetarian and chant Hare Krishna, life's a lot easier. So give it a try. Yes, Guru ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanandi, Haribo. All of you, ki jai.